Welcome back to the Cabral Concept. I'm Stephen Cabral, board-certified naturopathic doctor, and today on our Total Wellness Tuesday edition, I have something to bring to you as a tip that I give to all of my digestive-based clients, meaning like all of the clients that I see, wellness clients in my wellness practice in Boston. All of them come in, well, digestive-based at least, with issues surrounding bloating, gas, burping, indigestion, heartburn, IBS, Crohn's, colitis, some type of digestive-based issue. And what I like to do is I like to explain the digestive system and how that works to them, but I also then just give them this one simple tip that I'm going to get to in 1 second. So this one tip, though, just makes it so much easier for your body to digest, and that means you get to expend less energy. A lot of people forget that about a third of the body's energy, its capacity, what it needs to actually produce energy on a daily basis, goes to digestion. And if digestion is weak, meaning that you're producing less of the enzymes, less of the hydrochloric acid and bile, you're going to have to expend more energy with your body to break down all of that food. And so here's how it works. Essentially, when you put food into your mouth, you need to chew it up really well. If you're not chewing up really well, of course, then it's going to cause more distress for your stomach. Your stomach has to produce more acid. It has to do more churning to break down that food. That's the second part, is the acid. The third part, what we're going to do is we're going to have your gallbladder and liver are going to actually use this stuff called bile. And the bile is going to be dropped into the first part of that small intestine called the duodenum. Very, very important. First part of it's about 10 inches of the first part of the small intestine. And what that does is it allows for the acid-based food substance to meet this very alkaline-based bile. And when that happens, it emulsifies the fats. It rips them right open. And that's where the biggest explosion of nutrients happens, and that's when you can rip apart that food, really make it easy for your intestines then to work on the food with the bacteria, the villi, the microvilli, the enterocytes, all that great stuff. So then from there, again, just the bacteria, which is the fourth part, is going to start to work on that food. So here's the thing. If all of those aren't working in proper order or with the proper strength, it's going to cause more issues down the line. And so a lot of people with IBS, which is just literally a symptoms-based symptom, that's it, irritable bowel syndrome, meaning like it doesn't even say anything, it just means your bowels are irritable. I mean, what does that even mean? So it means there's inflammation, it means there might be gut dysbiosis, bacterial overgrowth, Clostridium difficile overgrowth, candida overgrowth, parasites, whatever it might be. Something's going on, something's wrong with the actual gut itself. But a lot of people, all these things take place as well because they produce less stomach acid. And the reason is because they're stressed. When your body is stressed, a lot of times the blood is actually pulled more away from the stomach itself. You're going to produce less stomach acid for many, many different reasons. It could be a lack of the actual nutrients needed to make stomach acid, which is chloride as well as hydrogen. And anyway, all of this then takes more energy from your body, but it also causes that if the food stays in your stomach longer, it's going to expand because it starts to ferment. It starts to create gas, and it's like blowing up a balloon. And that's where a lot of this discomfort comes from. And that same exact thing can happen in your intestines as well. So here's one simple tip to make all that easier. Now, if you're not working with a health practitioner, functional medicine practitioner, naturopathic doctor, or anyone like that, you can at least start to strengthen your digestive system with great supplements like a digestive enzyme or betaine HCl, or with a ox bile-based supplement, or with Saccharomyces boulardii, something like that. Okay, all those things work great, and they all work great when used together. But there's one easier thing that is not supplement-based that really doesn't cost you any money, and that's what I like to call the fork test. So I give it again to all of my wellness clients who are having the most digestive-based issues in my practice. And I say, if you can't squish that food with a fork, meaning like if you take your fork and you press down on that food and it doesn't turn to mush, think about this. If your fork can't do that, it's going to be much harder, and it's going to take a lot more energy, a lot more enzymes, a lot more stomach acid, bile, all of those things to break that down, okay? So that means it could sit in your stomach longer, could ferment, it could cause these issues. This works phenomenally well. I've never heard it mentioned anywhere before, but I'm probably not the first person to come up with this. And so I call it the fork test. And it simply means smashing that food, just taking it. Now, you don't have to do this with every bite. It's just a test. And it's also even just to think about. Like, think about this. If you have a piece of red meat on your plate and you try to push that down with a fork, it's not going anywhere. It's going to kind of smush and then pop back up, all right? It's not going to break apart. Now, if you do that with chicken, you might be okay. It might break apart a little bit. If you do that with fish, it will absolutely smush in your plate. It will break down completely. If you do that with eggs, it will break down completely. If you do that with cooked vegetables, like let's say carrots or cooked beets or something like that, it will absolutely smush. But now think about this. With lettuce leaves, will the fork actually crush the lettuce leaf? It won't. It will not break up the lettuce leaf. Lettuce leaves, believe it or not, salads, which we've all been told are very, very healthy, are not that healthy for some people. For people with a lot of digestive issues, it is very challenging to break down leaves. And the reason is we are not cows. We don't have a rumen. We don't have multiple stomachs. We do not churn our food. We do not regurgitate our food, chew it again, and then swallow it back down, which is what a lot of cows do. So you have to keep in mind that I have no problem with people eating salads, and I eat some salads myself. But it's not an easy thing to digest when your digestive system is not that strong, and especially during the winter when the body's cold, salads are cold, all of those types of things. So think about that. If you're trying to recover from some type of bloating, gas, distension, whatever it might be issue right now, try to stick with foods that are very easy for you just to break down or smush down with a fork. And if that's the case, that means when you put them in your mouth, you chew them up, it's going to be very, very simple. Now, of course, you're going to chew all foods. Like you might say, oh, well, with red meat or with salad, I'm just going to chew it up. And that's true. But think about it. Do you really chew your food up to a mush? And if you do, well, then good for you. Then you're way ahead of the game, way ahead of the game. I just know that most people chew a half a dozen times or so and then swallow. So that lettuce leaf is not going to be completely broken down. That red meat, it's just going to be kind of broken. It's not going to be kind of smushed apart. So then when it gets to your stomach still has to do that work. Again, it's just a simple tip. If you can use it and it works for you, great. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to share what I've seen work. Again, we do 20,000 plus appointments a year. I have so much data. I want to share that data with you and really see what works. And I only bring you the things that do work. Meaning like all these things have been tried, true, and tested. And I know that they're going to work for you. I simply want you to implement the things that you feel will work best for you or that you'd at least like to give and try and test it out. Because, I mean, what does it take? Maybe just picking some foods that you believe will pass this fork test and see how you feel afterwards. Still chew them up well. Still try to be relaxed when you eat. But I really believe that if you follow this fork test rule, you're going to be doing so much better for yourself. You can have a lot less distension, maybe even without using the enzymes or the HCl or the bile. I really think that it will help you out just in general. And then do work to figure out what the root cause of those issues are. Do maybe test an organic acids test to see if there is any bacterial overgrowth or candida overgrowth. It doesn't hurt. It's only going to help. And I do believe the more you know about the body, your own body specifically, the more you can do to help it and improve it in the long run, which means you can get more out of life because you can have more energy, more vitality. You're going to want to do more. You're going to have more ambition, more drive, which is really what this is all about. I'm just trying to help people get well so they can lead their absolute best life. Thank you once again for tuning into the Cabral Concept.